If you're looking to make a one-of-a-kind holiday home decor piece to gift to your hostess or to yourself, look no further, because today we're doing it all. We're not only going to combine Eco-Resin and epoxy resin, we're going to combine different molds to create a one-of-a-kind holiday giftable piece of art, along with a gorgeous decoupage technique. I'm telling you, we're doing it all today. So let's get ready and get crafting. First thing we need to do is get out our Resincrete Eco-Resin by J. Diction, my favorite eco pouring medium. And I ordered in these adorable penguin molds. What says the chill of winter like a couple of cute penguins after all? So there's a tall skinny penguin and a short chubby penguin. I'm also working on my silicone mat and my leveling table. I've also got some extra molds on standby in case I have too much, because we don't like to waste our Resincrete. But I have some ideas that I want to try that I haven't done before, so bear with me as we experiment together. You'll need a measuring scale for your Resincrete, and on the back there are instructions about the ratios of powder to water. It's pretty simple, pretty easy, a lot of fun. I'm gonna just start by mixing up enough for my tall penguin to see if the experiment's even gonna work before I pour two of them. Now that I've got my powder measured out, I'm gonna sprinkle in a whole bunch of some glitz glitter. Now I've used glitter and mica pigments in Resincrete before, and it has caused me to have some chunky issues, which actually looked really cool, but I don't know if it's gonna work in the penguin, because I'm hoping the penguin will have kind of a little bit of sparkle to it. If I add the glitter, we will see. So I'm just mixing the glitter and powder first together so it's evenly spread out. And then I'm gonna add my correct ratio of water to Resincrete. Give that a good stir. And pour it into my penguin mold. You can see I've got a few lumps and bumps in there, but it won't matter. Trust me, I've done this a lot and you'll never know there's lumps and bumps in there. This mold is a bit precarious, but I still give it a little bit of a jiggle and wiggle to help release some of those bubbles. And now we wait 30 minutes, just 30 minutes, and we're ready to demold our first penguin and see if I got the sparkle I was looking for. You can color Resincrete, but I wanted to leave these guys white for what I'm gonna be making today. He came out really easily. He's still really smooth and cool to the touch, like porcelain or ceramic. And he is glittery, however, I'm not sure you can quite see it in the video, but there is a little bit of sparkle. Not a lot of sparkle, but just enough. I would have liked him a little sparklier, but I have an idea for that. And I'm going to write down my Resincrete measurements on the side of my mold for next time so I don't forget, and because I plan on making more penguins. So I went ahead and mixed up another batch just the same way, and I'm pouring it into our little chubby penguin. Give him a little wiggle and jiggle. And then I had a little left over, so I'm gonna pour it into my magnet fridge mold, which I love this mold. I wish I could find more. It makes the perfect refrigerator magnet size. And I have other videos where I've made magnets out of these, and they are adorable. And you can see in 30 minutes, we are ready to demold. And here is our little chubby guy. Oops, he did get a little mark on him, and I'm not sure why. I wonder if some of the glitter kind of bled out. But I'm just going to take my little nail buffing brush and sand that right off. I'll also be sanding the bottom because the bottom's a little bit rough on this one. And these nail buffing brushes work amazing for sanding down your Resincrete and your epoxy resin. And he's good to go. You can't even tell. Now here is our third mold. It is my favorite dish mold. It makes a really cute plate or trinket dish. And you've probably seen me use that before in other videos. I also have some mica flakes and that same glitter. And I've got this adorable holiday Christmas napkin that I want to decoupage onto the plate, which will be the base for our penguin serving candy dish that I want to create. However, I would like the edge of the dish to be sparkly like snow. And because I don't have a lot of my glitter and mica flake left, I'm thinking I will experiment on these little candle tea light holders before I move on and mix a big batch and do it in my plate. And that's always a tip that I recommend when you guys ask me when you're just starting out. Start small and experiment on something small before you move on to something larger. So what I want to do is put some of these iridescent mica flakes along the edge of the tea light candle mold, along with some of our glitter. And then I want to pour my Resincrete in. Now I have a feeling, because I've done this with trinket dishes before, that it's gonna leave cavities and it's not quite gonna just leave a solid glittery edge. Now that I've got my glitter all dispersed in there, I'm going to pour my Resincrete right on top. And then jiggle and wiggle it. And I expect there'll be some bubbles because of all that pigment mica powder down there. What I'm going to do is take a popsicle stick and kind of push down into the edges with the Resincrete so that it soaks into some of that glitter and those mica flakes. And you can see the bubbles and the glitter kind of releasing out to the back of the mold. Gonna give it a few more taps, and then we're just gonna let it sit. We're just gonna let it sit and hope for the best and see what we get. It's like a box of chocolates. You just never know what you're gonna get. 30 minutes later, just like that, it is completely cured. And let's demold this and see what kind of a glittery mess we have. So this is totally not what I want for my plate, but I kind of feel like I just cracked open a Christmassy geode. Look at the cool sparkle and crevices in this. I'm going to get a stiff bristle brush and remove some of this excess glitter. I think we just accidentally made a gorgeous candle holder. What do you think? We will finish this off later, but oh my gosh, not what I want for my plate, but I think this is just stunning. Don't worry, I'm going to sweep up some of my glitter and I'm going to use it in my plate. So since just dumping the glitter in the edge and pouring Resincrete didn't really work, I'm gonna mix it into my Resincrete like we did the penguins, except I am gonna add some mica flakes too. And you can see how chunky our Resincrete looks because I added those mica flakes, and I'm hoping I didn't make a humongous mistake. But let's pour her in and just see what happens. Sometimes you just have to go for it and wing it and learn and move on. I'm gonna be curious how smooth this ends up in the end with all these chunks and bumps in there. All right, we are ready to demold this plate. Don't you love how quick this stuff cures? Now, it cures enough to demold in 30 minutes, but you do probably want to let it sit quite a bit longer to finish dispersing any moisture in it before you move on and, like I'm going to do, decoupage it. Well, the plate came out really smooth. I'm shocked, actually. But we've got some color embedded into the Resincrete, and I don't know how that happened. And you can't see any of the mica flakes, which really, it makes sense because the Resincrete just covered it up. So I don't know what I was thinking. Don't do that. It's just a waste of mica flakes. I'm just going to do a quick sanding of that bottom rim to smooth it out. It is a little bit sparkly, but I guess none of that matters because I'm going to decoupage this plate anyway. I just didn't get the sparkly edge that I was looking for, but we're going to make them sparkle no matter what. I guarantee you those edges are going to sparkle. One of my viewers gave me this tip. Use a piece of tape to separate your napkins. This napkin only has 2 ply. Some of them have 4. And here's my idea. I want to be able to place this penguin in the middle and then resin the whole thing together, making it one really cute serving platter or tray or candy dish. And I've learned from past mistakes decoupaging that I try to do it all at once. I'm just going to start in the middle and work my way out slowly, letting it dry each time. And that will help avoid some of those wrinkles and creases that you can get, especially when you're working on like a round object like this. And I'm using a combination of my sponge, a piece of plastic, and my fingers to smooth it out. It just takes patience. I'm going to let this dry and we're going to pop over and start decoupaging our little short stubby penguin, because I have these really gorgeous gold napkins that I think would be super cute. And on this one I'm going to cut out individual parts of the napkin and decoupage it more intentionally. These pieces are perfect for each of the penguin's wing. And I'm just going to go from there and fill my way through it, kind of composing what I want on this penguin, and then we'll get back to our plate. This one was a lot of fun and totally unexpected. I hadn't even planned on what I was going to do with our little short penguin, but he ends up being my favorite. I'm going to use these gold metallic markers to paint his beak. And then this other chrome marker to paint the edge of his wings. And I think I'll skip the eyes. I'm just going to leave him a real classic white and gold penguin. And he doesn't even have to be a holiday piece. I mean, I think he could be like a Pottery Barn everyday home decor. You let me know what you think. But either way, I'm really, really proud of my little penguin. Let's finish decoupaging our plate. Now that that's all dry, I'm going to take my water pen, and this is great to go along the edges, and it just helps to disintegrate that paper and you can pull it off real easily. And I'm using my nail buffer again to just clean up the edges of the paper. And you can see how nice that looks. Now let's get back to how we're going to glitter those edges. We're just going to put some Mod Podge on it and do it the old-fashioned way and sprinkle that glitter. Don't worry, I'm going to use up the rest of this glitter on my penguins because he needs a little bit of sparkle too. I will be sure to link all of these things in the description below the video in case you're interested in any of the supplies I used today. And I think he needs a little bling on his booty too, don't you? Now that those are all dry and finished, it is time to put our plate and penguin together using some epoxy resin. This is artist resin by Counterculture DIY. I'm using this because it is food safe. In other words, you don't want to eat off of it, but you can definitely place some cookies or candies on the plate to be had. We're going to get our air purifier going, gloves and mask on, and start mixing our epoxy. I'm going to be using the bottom part of my curing machine because it has this cool base and silicone mat, which will be perfect for the drips and cleanup. This is a 2-part resin and it's equal amounts 1-to-1 hardener and resin, so super easy to pour. And it's not very stinky either. However, I do recommend wearing your safety gear whenever you're working with resin. And 2 ounces should be plenty. So 1 ounce hardener, 1 ounce resin. Mix those together really, really well. And now we're going to pour it in there. And there's nothing like getting your hands right in that resin, your gloved hands, of course. Let's be safe, people. And spreading it around. It's kind of satisfying, actually. Once I get that completely covered, it's time to place our penguin in the center. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put the rest of the resin right over the top of him and spread it around. Then I'm going to use my torch to torch out any bubbles. And I'm going to add a few other little snowflake embellishments into the plate before it cures. Now we're going to just let that sit and cure while I move on and seal my other 2 pieces. For these, I don't want them to be really thick and glossy like the plate, so I'm just going to use Resincrete sealer, which will just give it a nice satin sheen, but leave it more natural looking. I'm really going to glop it into the candle holder so that it gets in there in all those cracks and crevices and seals it really, really good. And 24 hours later, here is my favorite piece, the one that I hadn't even planned on, my little golden penguin. And here is our adorable candy tray. You could make this a gift for your hostess at your next holiday gathering, or you could use it yourself. The ideas are endless when you start realizing you can combine molds into one piece. I hope that this has inspired you to get crafty too And I'll see you in the next video. Do you want a snack?
Oh, wow. Where'd you buy that?
I made that.
You made that?
I made it.
Holy moly.
Pretty good, huh?
Okay, I give up. You're the creative one in the family.
No, you are. I might be able to make that, but he can make these.
That is really cool. That's going to make a great present for somebody.
Yeah, wrap it in cellophane and add candies.
Yeah.
Something fancier than that.
I like it.
All right. Do you want a cookie?
Yeah. Do I get to keep one?
Yeah.